Hi everyone, welcome to the afternoon session. We have Andreas Hasenack. He'll be taking a talk on Debian and Ubuntu packages in Launchpad Kit. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is basically the same talk as I gave yesterday, but let's say with more opening for questions and discussions and even demos, if you guys want. Did somebody here not see the talk yesterday? Okay. I think I will go through the slides. I selected just a few. It's not the same thing. It's not all of them again. So this is just to show how we solved a particular problem in Ubuntu, or at least we think we solved it, which is managing the delta that we have in the Ubuntu packages when compared to Debian. So we are a Debian derivative. We are downstream of Debian. We take many packages from Debian as is, and others we apply changes. How to manage these changes when Debian releases a new package, that can pose a big problem depending how many changes we have. If it's a simple patch, it's easy. If it's like 50 patches, then not so much. So a tool was developed to import all the packages that we have in Ubuntu and Debian into Git. Launchpad already imports the source packages, and we just now import them again into Git. This is the tool that we use. It's called the importer. Open source, you can clone it, poke around. Once you clone a package, I think I went too far. Once you clone a package, you get a set of default branches. Ubuntu Delta always points at the latest Ubuntu release. Debian/name points at the respective Debian release. Ubuntu /release, and then we have proposed update security. They all point to the specific Ubuntu releases. So if you want to check what's the latest package in Bionic, you would go to Ubuntu/Bionic-devel, for example. So that's the latest in Bionic. And we also have a set of applied branches, which have all the quilt patches applied, in case you prefer that. But the default is unapplied. So this is a quick example. You can clone Samba, that's the Ubuntu package. You get a normal Git repository. The default branch you get is Ubuntu Delta, which is tip. You can then check out Debian seed, for example, and you get what's in Debian seed at this time. The important thing here is that for Debian packages, we have one commit per upload, one commit per version. We don't have the rich history of whatever the developer did in that Debian package, since this is just a result of package import. So one commit per package upload. You can also use the tool we developed for this. It's called Git Ubuntu. It just saves you some typing, saves you some scripting. Instead of having to know the URL, you just do Git Ubuntu clone and the name of the package. You can also easily add remotes for branches or for repositories from other people in case you are reviewing branches. So you can add a remote for my repository, and the tool will set up the push and fetch remotes for you. But that's it, actually. There is no need to use specific tooling for this. Plain Git works. This is how we preserve the rich history, since we work based on imports into Git, not the other way around. The uploads, they start with a normal dput. It's not a tag we push to Git, and then Git extracts a source package, and that is uploaded. No, we do it the other way. So when a package is imported, the importer looks for a specific tag. It's called the upload tag. If that tag is there, and it points to a tree that matches bit by bit the package that was uploaded, the rich history is taken from the upload tag. If the upload tag is not there, or if it doesn't match what was uploaded, then it's ignored, and it's a normal package import with one commit per upload. Here we are, it's a sample, it's an example of an SRU for a stable release update. You would clone, again, the Samba package using Git Ubuntu or the plain clone from before. You create a branch with your fix. You branch it off from the tip of Bionic Devel, which means the latest that is in Bionic right now. Hack away, do your patches, apply them, test, build, etc., eventually push. If you use Git Ubuntu to clone, then you will have a remote already set for your Launchpad user. And you can also create the merge proposal in Launchpad itself in the GUI. This is the meat of the thing. This is what drove the people at Canonical to create this structure. It's to managing the merges from Debian. So we have here a sample package from Debian, of which Ubuntu decided to grab and apply some patches. That's one Ubuntu 1. Then Ubuntu decided to apply some other patches. That became one Ubuntu 2, and so on. And Delta old is what represents the Delta from Ubuntu when compared to the Debian base package that we imported. Debian continues making its own releases, and eventually Debian makes a new upstream release, 1.3, and we say, okay, we want to grab that. So how do we apply our Delta on top of that package? It's essentially a Git rebase. That's what it is. The moment we have our Delta identified cleanly, and that's what I meant with the bullet points over there, it's one commit per logical change. We squash commits when they make sense. So for example, if one Ubuntu 1 adds a change and one Ubuntu 2 decides to remove that change, they both cancel each other out. So we don't need to have two commits for that, we just drop it. We also do not include the changelog entries in the Delta or other Debian controller noise updates like the maintainer. So that makes the Delta very clean, very easy to spot, and very easy to maintain, and also very easy to submit back upstream. So we grab this Delta, and then we do essentially a Git rebase on top of the new Debian package. Make the necessary adjustments for it to apply. For example, the new upstream version might have adopted a fix, so we don't need it anymore. We might need to refresh a patch, so it applies cleanly, those kinds of changes, and this becomes the new Delta. And Git has a very nice tool that allows us to even inspect the changes between deltas, which is git range diff. It's available in the latest version. And we can use that to make sure that we didn't drop anything that we didn't want to, that we only added what we really want to, or that we kept the delta as it was. This is such a merge in practice. What's important here is the commit at the very bottom. That's the actual Debian haproxy upload, pristine, as Debian uploaded it. Then the first commit on top of that is our Delta. That's, in this case, it's a simple Delta, just one change, but there, this could be huge. It's a commit change in two files in this case, that's fine. And after that is just metadata changes. So merge changelogs, we use the package merge changelogs to merge back the Ubuntu changelog into with the Debian one. And this produces the final changelog with the intertwined Debian and Ubuntu releases mentioned. And the reconstruct changelog, it just grabs the commit message as is and creates a new changelog entry. So this yellow bit matches the text exactly there. I just truncated it because it's too long for this site here. And the update maintainer is just a Debian control change, pointing the maintainer back at Ubuntu developers. This is how we manage the Ubuntu Delta in, Ubuntu Delta in the Ubuntu packages. We can create merge requests for this, people review it. It's something I do alongside this, and I did exactly for this package, was the moment I have this Delta, I know that the person who is going to review my branch is going to say, hey, have you submitted this to Debian? So what I do here is I just add a salsa remote branch of the master branch there where haproxy is. And I literally cherry pick this change here, which is our Delta. I can cherry pick this exactly into the Debian branch and create a pull request there. And that's it. That's how easy it became to submit Delta upstream for us. This is meant to be a buff and not a repeat from yesterday's session. It's basically up to you guys what you prefer to do here. I can do a sample merge of the squid package. Debian has 4.8. Ubuntu is at 4.6. The squid has a more complicated Delta, not that much, but there are many more commits. I could also do the same for haproxy. That one was showing 201. haproxy is now at 203. I can show you what else Git Ubuntu can do. This then becomes a bit more Ubuntu specific, not necessarily what we want here, but I can show you that as well. Git Ubuntu can do Ubuntu is actually what imports the packages as well. We run this as a daemon. It can also build source packages like sbuild. It creates a container, builds the source package or the binary package there. This is also what we use to facilitate the merges. So this process that I showed here before, these commits here, merge, changelog, reconstruct, update maintainer, this is all automatically done by Ubuntu. We can do an SRU. SRU is the Ubuntu lingo for a stable release update, which is the simplest case. You just grab a package, apply a patch on top of it, and using it for that, super trivial. That's basically it. These are the links for discussions. If you have questions, we can go through some practical tasks here. But it's up to you. If there is nothing else, I don't know if you guys have any questions or suggestions, or if you have criticisms, if you have ideas, feel free.
Anyone has any questions?
This can be a very short move.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if you heard about Deb14, which is a Git layout format, and I guess that's what you're using here, right?
Yeah, this started in 2014. We use part of that layout, yes. We use the tag escaping from that. It's based on it. But our main requirement here was dealing with the merges from Deb, and that was really our headache. It was really a big headache. In the other slides, I had an example of the MySQL package, which when this delta was finally decomposed, Robbie, the maintainer, he had 120 commits representing the delta. It was insane. It was a package that was unmaintained in Ubuntu. Nobody wanted to take it because of this huge delta. Merging it with the next Ubuntu release, with the next Debian release was terrible, like days and days and days of work. Once he applied this workflow to that package, it came down to 8 commits. 4 he was able to submit to Debian immediately, and the delta was just 4 commits after that. And now it's a sync nowadays. So really the main driver here is kind of different of what other projects might have. So in this sense, our main driver was managing this delta. Having the package in Git and being able to do SRUs like this is kind of a side effect. That's really not our main driver. The main driver was managing the delta. For that, we need the whole history of Debian packages imported. We hit many, many edge cases importing old packages. We have packages with a .git directory in the source tarball. You can't import that. We have packages with very old style of Debian changelog entries, which current tools were barfing on. And having the import history in that case, actually having the rich history in Debian doesn't matter to us that much. Also because still today there is no consensus on how the Debian packages are stored in Git. You can have unapplied, you can have applied, you have some people using just the Debian directory, others change it directly on the source code, I hear. For us, that really doesn't matter, because for this use case here, what we need is a base on which to start our Delta, which is the Debian package as it is. So we don't need to have the commits that lead up to this, that lead up to how the maintainer made changes. If you want to, we can go to source and check that. But this was really to manage our Delta on top of the Debian packages.
So you're moving to use Git in Ubuntu?
Yes, this started as, what's the word now? The Ubuntu server team started this, because MySQL is under Ubuntu server. So this is what started everything. We managed to get, let's say, approval to use this for all packages. So all packages in main are imported into Git. You don't have to use Git. If you don't use Git, then all that you get are commits just like this one for Ubuntu packages. You will get 1 commit per Ubuntu package upload. If you use Git, if you use like merge requests and follow this idea, and when you push the upload tag, then we will take the rich history for your package, this guy here. When that tag matches what was imported after you uploaded the package, it will be used. It's not mandatory. And to be honest, only the server team, as far as I know, is really using this. Others, eventually they try to use it and they ask questions about it, but mainly the server team.
So the merge-o-matic, is this a replacement, or is there, like, you mean is different teams using the
different teams
tools?
use different tools. So the people, for example, I go to merge-o-matic to see what's pending, what's left to do. Oh, there is this merge I can do. But then I use this workflow. Others, they do it manually, they do it however they like. And this workflow actually allows us to spot mistakes, because we have to, if somebody uploads a package without using this workflow, it's 1 commit per change, and this change could be the person added 5 patches. It's 1 commit. That person will mention the 5 patches in the Debian changelog, hopefully, describing what they do and why, and et cetera, et cetera. When we see that in Git, we have to decompose that single commit, which is just the import one. We decompose that into, for example, 5 commits, 1 commit per patch. And sometimes we find extra changes that were not mentioned in changelog, or the other way around. We found something that's mentioned in changelog, but doesn't correspond to the code that was uploaded. So this also helps us to spot mistakes in merges. And as I said, complicated merges are prone to mistakes. Patches get dropped by mistake.
Yeah, I really like this workflow. So.
Cool. As I said, not even in canonical everybody's using it. What people dread is the first merge. Because the first time you do it, if the delta is not as simple as this one, just a couple of files changed, you have to, and not many people, and this is also a thing of, teams have different workflows, they have different rules. So our team, for example, we make sure that we always mention as much as possible the files that we changed in the changelog entry. So I mentioned that I'm changing Debian test control, Debian test proxy localhost, and what I did there. So if for some reason the delta is lost, somebody uploaded it without applying this workflow, it's easy to reconstruct, easy to see what really changed. And then this first step of extracting the delta and making it simple to read, which is one of the objectives here. Delta without noise, that's the goal. 1 commit per logical change, squashed when it makes sense. No Debian changelog noise. The Debian changelog, it just creates merge conflicts in the end. It doesn't help. Same for Debian control, but there is just 1 line, the maintainer. Once you get to this stage, getting to this stage can be hard for more complicated packages, but if you do it once, the next merge is so trivial that it's just a rebase. It's really just a Git rebase. What you do in the end, you do a Git rebase onto new Debian, my branch here, and it just applies the delta on the new Debian, and then if you have conflicts, it's just normal Git conflict resolution.
And do you use Git build package on top of this?
We use it when importing. We also try to use pristine tar, and we also found out that it fails a lot of the time. But we have Launchpad as our fallback. So Launchpad already imports all the source packages. So if pristine tar fails for any reason, we just fall back and download the source tarball from Launchpad. For building, I don't think there's anything here preventing you from using any tool for building, as long as you ignore .git when building from that directory. And I found something funny here. There are many packages that behave very differently when you build them and you have a .git directory in the build. For some reason, they think, oh, there's a .git here, so I'm building a development release. And then they do something else. So you really have to be careful with that sometimes. So yes, you can use GBP build package, you can use sbuild, you can use whatever you want. It's just the branch you get is in the same state as you would get if you had run the package source-x without applying patches. That's what you get. Git Ubuntu, the tool, it also has a build command to facilitate things if you want. You don't have to set up sbuild or anything like that. If you have lexd set up on your machine, it will use that. It will create an ephemeral container, put all the files in there, install build dependencies, build, extract the result, and kill the container after. It's a helper. I can show here what a git log looks like for a more complicated package. So this will represent the current squid package in Ubuntu Ion, which is the latest. We are in the Ubuntu Devel branch. I don't know if that's visible. So in this case, this upload was done without using this workflow. So what you have here is just a single import commit. So somebody uploaded 4.6 to Ubuntu 4 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 changes, 5 patches, or changes. And these are all in one commit. So when you don't use the workflow, when you don't use Git to prepare an upload, this is what you get. It works. You have stuff in Git. You can base your changes on top of this, but you won't have the rich history. If you go down a bit more, there was another upload like this. So we just introduced GCC 9 in Ion, and that introduced a whole bunch of build failures. So this person was trying to fix them. So this time he added some flags to GCC to ignore certain errors. Again, it was a plain upload, no Git involved, so you have just an import commit here. Here again, and this is my merge, and this is actually following the workflow. So this is the difference. Now instead of just having an import commit, we have individual commits here. Update maintainer, reconstruct changelog, merge changelogs. Those are the automatic commits I showed before. And here begins the Delta. An app armor fix, changing a file. Something else we do, we try to make it really clear why, for example, we are dropping something. So we put that in square brackets. So this is being applied from bottom to top. So this is where the dropped section begins. So we dropped this temp file because it was fixed in Debian in 4.5.2. That one was fixed upstream, so we also dropped it. But I still have a commit here. It's an empty commit. The reason I do that is because the changelog is reconstructed from the commits. So I will get this for free in the changelog, just because I have a commit for it, even though it's empty. That one was also added by Debian 4.6.2, so I can drop that one. So this Delta has a lot of drops, and that's nice. We like dropping things. We like dropping fixes when they're not needed anymore. And the changelog for this package looks like this. So this first entry was done manually. This was not using Git, just a person hacking locally, uploading. So this is what you get. Same for that one, and this is my merge one. Here it's different. This entire changelog was reconstructed from Git history automatically. So we start with the usual header, merge with Debian unstable, remaining changes. This is our Delta. This represents the Delta that Ubuntu has of this package. Sometimes we slightly change the Delta, but it's still a Delta. So for example, in this case here, I submitted this patch. Actually, no, this one I grabbed from upstream while it was still in a proposal state. It wasn't committed. Now it was committed, so I edited the patch to add the deb3 header applied upstream. We try to take really great care with deb3 headers. They help us in the long run. Like if I have to look at this again in a year from now, and let's say this patch is still not applied, Just by looking at the header, I can tell what's going on there. And then we have the dropped section. Again, this was also reconstructed automatically from Git. We have what we dropped from our Delta and why. Because it's fixed in that package, it's fixed upstream, it's fixed in that other one. And if we have to add some Delta to the package, you'll have another section called added, and then we list again the changes. And each one is a commit in Git when we follow this workflow.
D/P/ patch name, it means Debian patches, correct?
Right. Since we like to list the files we changed, sometimes the path is very long, so we abbreviate.
Okay.
So DP or just D, DPT, DT, Debian test, that's the other one. If I were to start a merge of this package, just to show what it would look like, so this will show the version, this is using our medicine. This will show the version of Squid in the Ubuntu. It didn't fit the screen so well. But okay, we can see here, in Eon we have currently Squid 4.6. Debian Unstable has 4.8. Debian is ahead. So how do we get this package into Ubuntu? How do we get all that Delta that you saw in the Debian changelog, AppArmor changes, and all that other stuff? How do we do that? So this is where we use that workflow. So the merge start command, it will prepare my local Git checkout, if you will, to do a merge. It identifies what was the last version of Debian that we branched off. In this case, we call it old Ubuntu, just to make it easier. That was 4.6, sorry, so start with Debian, old Debian, 4.6-2. That's when we applied the Delta to this version for the first time. That eventually became 4.6.2 Ubuntu 1, 2 Ubuntu 2, all those GCC fixes we saw, and currently we have 2 Ubuntu 4. So our Delta now, which is the changes between old Ubuntu and old Debian, it's the diff. Sorry, new Debian is the diff there. It identified that the new Debian version is 4.8, and I'm ready to start working here. Since there were many uploads that didn't follow the workflow, I will have to split them into individual commits. And this is the boring part, and this is what puts some people off. And this is what should drive you to never stop using the workflow if you can. So this is showing what we have now in Ubuntu, and all the way down to, oh, it didn't create a tag here, sorry. All the way down to old Debian. There, old Debian. So that's when we applied our changes for the first time, is in this old Debian, which is 4.6.2. So what we have to do is grab all these commits. These ones here are fine because they came from my merge done in the past. But the ones up here, which are import commits, let me get there. Okay, here. This first fix GCC 9 build issues, that's an import commit. Then again here, more GCC 9 fixes. The security fixes, the security team is also not using this yet. So we get all of these in one commit. So what we have to do is split them. I won't do all of this here, just show you how you would start. This is the current Delta. Up here, we have the commits already split into logical changes because this came from a previous merge I did. But then we have these last three here, these were uploads done by another person in Canonical who didn't follow this workflow, so they become import commits. This probably doesn't happen in Debian that often, and when it does, it's a big thing when somebody else uploads your package. But in Ubuntu, it's super common, and it's just work. So in this case, somebody else was trying to fix the GCC 9 issues and did several uploads to try to fix that. So what I need to do, in this interactive rebase, I choose to edit that commit. And I forgot the name of this. I basically move one commit behind as if I had just made the change but didn't commit yet. So what I see, it's hard to type and look back. So I see a new, this is red, sorry, you can see it here. There is a new patch file, there's a Debian changelog change, and a Debian patch series change. This was all that import commit. So what I usually do, I look at the changelog, see what the person said was doing, and then I add these files and create a new commit for that. So in this case, it was a simple change. It was just one patch was added. So to record that in a Git commit that makes sense, I just need to add the actual patch. It's a new file and the update to Debian patch series. I leave the changelog change for last. That's just noise. We don't like to represent the changelog in our Delta. And then I just grab the original changelog message. In this case, actually, I would prefer to be more explicit here and say that I'm adding, because, come on, a patch called 413.patch doesn't tell you much, right? So I try to make it easier. And I would, without a typo, I would do this. So what we did here was replace one of the import commits with a meaningful commit, which is the change that was done and the changelog message separate from the commit that changed the code. So it doesn't become noise when I try to do the merge later. And repeat the process for all import commits. And then you will get, in the end, something like I have above, a bunch of commits identifying exactly what was changed and how and why. The noise is separate. And this makes the Delta clear and easy to reapply on top of the new Debian package and to submit upstream. That's basically the process that we do. So I actually did this already yesterday, and I have a branch for it, and that's for 8 merge. This is what it looks like in the end. I did, just to show again, I did a rebase. I'm not going to execute it. I did a rebase on top of new Debian. So this is the Delta now applied on top of the new Debian package. The bits commented out are empty commits. They are there just so I can have the commit message incorporated into the Debian changelog. So before actually running this, I would have to, you know, let it pick all these empty commits. The last 3 commits were done by the tool, and this is just a PPA commit that I did to upload this to PPA and test the package. And in this package, actually, I have to check if I won't have to add a bit of Delta, because when inspecting the Debian changes, so these are the security fixes that I was able to drop because they're now upstream. So Debian also acknowledged them here. And you can see the last one here, for example. It's under the dropped section, and the reason is fixed upstream. But Debian also added a change here. Skip AppArmor test when profile not installed. These AppArmor tests we submitted to Debian some time ago. They adopted it. Apparently, they started failing in the Debian infrastructure. I wasn't aware of this. And when I saw this commit, I checked the CI Debian net. And indeed, they were failing there. They don't fail in Ubuntu. So the Debian maintainer added an if clause there to check for something and then skip the tests. So I have to be sure that this is not skipping the test in Ubuntu as well, because they are working there. So this is something I have to investigate. I might have to change this change that he added in order to not skip the test in our case. But ideally, I will have to investigate what's going on and propose a fix that works for both, for Debian and for us. So if I have to add a change here, then it would be a new commit on top of those commits that I showed already. And it would become an added change here in this changelog. So the changelog has remaining changes, that's the first, then we have dropped, and then I would have a new one called added changes, and that would then become part of our Delta from now on.
Are other Ubuntu teams willing to adopt this approach? Because it looks like reasonable in general, but I think you need to redo a lot of stuff because they are importing in a single commit.
There are some paper cuts, and allow me to then show the slides from yesterday. I removed them from these ones. Let me see if I can bring it up quickly here. So the paper cuts that I think are preventing more widespread adoption. Some packages we explicitly do not import. The most common reason is because they're huge. The kernel package is one such package. The source is over 150 megabytes. Also, the kernel team, they have their own way of managing things. They are really not that much interested in this. In particular, there are no merges from Debian. Other, like LibreOffice, is just because it's really big. That being said, so we have all of main imported. We have a bunch of universe packages imported. And every time we hit, like during our daily triage, we hit a bug in a certain package and we want to fix it, and we find that it's not imported, we add it to the list of packages to import. And the same can be done for any package that you care about. If you care about a package and it's not in Git, just send us an email, ping on IRC, and we will import it. We are now in this mode, we import on demand. If you want something imported, ask us and it will be. Some fail to import, so there are still bugs. There are some edge cases that the importer can't handle yet. I mentioned a few before that we fixed, like having a .git directory. There's another one that is really annoying, is that you cannot store an empty directory in Git. Some packages, they have empty directories for reasons, and it was never a problem before, but for us it is. And even if the maintainer, or if upstream fixes that and removes the empty directory or creates a .dot file inside, that doesn't help with the old releases of that package, which we still have to import. We have to import everything since the beginning. So that one is still an annoying problem. When you, let's say you want to do a merge proposal, you actually want somebody to review your change. You don't want to just deput the package. The tool doesn't select the reviewer for you automatically, not even Launchpad. If you go to Launchpad and propose a merge, it will default to the developers of Git Ubuntu instead of the team maintaining that package. So you still have to select manually who you want to review your change, if that's part of your team policy, getting reviews. And the upload tag, the thing that is crucial to preserve the rich history. Without this tag, the upload will just become one more commit. This is not automated. This tag has still to be pushed manually. So if that is forgotten, your upload will just become one commit instead of having the whole rich history. That's particularly annoying with merges, because merges can be very complicated, time-consuming, and if you lose the rich history, it's really annoying to get that back. It's not lost, it's just in another branch. And not everybody is using it, I think, because of these reasons. And I think the other reason is because doing the merge the first time is more complicated, because this workflow kind of forces you to do it correctly. You cannot mention something in changelog that is not actually being changed in code, and vice versa. If you change something in the code and it's not in the Debian changelog, that will be flagged. So it's a bit annoying for the first time, but again, after that, it makes merges much more easier. And for SRUs, it's usually much simpler because it's just one change usually on top of a stable release. So yeah, we hope more people use it, but we don't enforce it, and it works just fine. The importer runs in the background. Every time there's a new Debian upload or Ubuntu upload, it just picks it up, imports it, and that's it. Yeah, for us, main benefit, easier merges, easier to submit changes upstream. That's really, and in our team, if I add a change and I don't justify why I didn't push this upstream, it doesn't get approved. It has to be pushed upstream. We make extensive use of deb3 headers in the patches. And it works with packages that are not in Git elsewhere, like Debian packages that are not yet in Git or are in another Git repository, another format. We just import the source. That's it.
How much workforce do you put into this system for synchronizing changes with Debian, imports, all this stuff? How much workforce did it require initially, and how much it takes to support the system? Like how many people work on this for how long?
So the beginning was harder, of course. We needed collaboration with Launchpad. This is a huge amount of new data. They needed to prepare for it in terms of storage. I don't have the number here, I can ask, but it's certainly dozens and dozens of gigabytes. There is a question of load. But once that was done, so the development started with 2 people. That was Robbie and Nish. Nish has left since then. Robbie is now the main developer behind this, Robbie Bazak. Things are now running smoothly. The importer is running. We have some fixes to make there. Sometimes it crashes, then we restart it. That's about it. We would like to have more people involved in this. the spec can be a bit complicated. The way these packages are imported, all the tag handling and so on. So that's a lot of documentation that still has to be written. But nowadays, it's just running by itself, basically.
When did you start that project? You mean
it started in 2014,
so
like the first Spark.
There are 5 years between start and nowadays.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would say it really got impulse in the last 2 years. That's when we really, okay, let's do this. And we even switched in Launchpad. I know we are over time, just here. In Launchpad, if you go to a package and you click on the code tab, you will be pointed at these Git repositories. So that was Bazaar. And if you do that and you get a Bazaar branch, then it means this package is not in this new stuff here. It's old craft. So in the last 2 years, this is when the real exciting stuff happened.
Okay, thank you.
That's it? Okay, thank you.